Hello, everyone, and welcome to another fascinating episode. I think like that's the same thing I said last time. Enervating. No, wait, that's true. Invigorating episode of Dragon Talk.
Yes. Invigorating.
I'm Greg Tito, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host,
Shelley Mazzanoble.
That is you.
That's right. I'm not used to saying who I am now. It's the whole new Greg.
I feel like I've always given you the chance to do that, and then now...
And then I just stare blankly at
Yeah, right. You're like, and when you do that for long enough, then I say your name.
Ugh.
Shelley Mazzanoble.
Shelley Mazzanoble.
She's a robot, and she's here.
I am a robot.
We also have the inimitable Alex Kammer. Hello, Alex.
Hello.
Hey, guys. Hi. That's an interesting adjective, but thank you.
There's no one like you. There's no one.
There is no one like you.
maybe.
You are very unique and special.
Well, I appreciate that.
But I got to meet Alex for the first time at Origins
Me too.
Game Fair. Was that the first time you met him as well?
Yep.
Yeah, and you were a
We've
very
emailed for a while.
delightful person.
Totally.
Well, I feel the same about you guys. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
It was a good time. And so, yeah, you run Gamehole Con, which is a very interesting, how can I can't say it. It's a very weird name for a convention.
True. This is not the first time I've been asked this question. Commenting on the name, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's
but
true.
no,
I feel like it now needs to be your calling card. You have to tell that story whenever you.
I suppose. So yeah, it's named after my gaming group called the Gamehole, and it is thusly named because we were in my basement for years, and so we started calling ourselves the Gamehole, a la a Hobbit hole kind of thing. And so over the years we've been gaming together for almost 20 years now. So when we started talking about making a convention and putting on a convention, it had to be Gamehole Con or we weren't going to do it, kind of deal. And so that's how it worked out. And but yeah, people don't forget our name. Once you've heard it once, that's it. But
with a name like Smuckers,
that's right.
It's got to be good.
That's right.
Yeah. And it's true. It does
nothing.
stick in your head.
It does. It stands out for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
it's
been kind of it's an interesting to hear it initially when we're kicking around that name. People are like, oh, that doesn't sound like it's going to work. So, well, if it doesn't, it doesn't. So it goes. Obviously, if you're going to start a big commercial venture, that's not how you start, and that's because that's not what we were doing. We were just doing this for fun, and this was a joy project, a passion project, or something we wanted to do because we love gaming.
Yeah.
Not because we're trying to be the biggest, fanciest show in the country or anything like that. So if it didn't work, it didn't work. But I guess it has, and so here we are again. Now we're getting ready for year 6.
Year 6.
Sixth year. That's crazy. So you said you've been playing Dungeons and Dragons for 20 plus years. What was it? What was your introduction? What was your first experience like playing Dungeons and Dragons, and how did you get hooked?
Yeah, like so many kids of the 80s, I saw the four-paneled end cap at a local store, and in it they had the Player's Handbook, the Monster Manual, the Dungeon Master's Guide, and Deities and Demigods. And I looked at that and said, "Holy blank! What is that?" I was 12. This is 1982, and I thought, okay. I was getting into science fiction and fantasy literature, and the covers were amazing. I said, I just have to get one of those. So I quickly, mowed as many lawns as I could get my parents to pay me for, and bought the Player's Handbook, and that was my first book in 1982. And so, like kids, as a 12-year-old, I didn't really know how to play, and I had another friend, and we're kind of, trying to do it. The rules are pretty inscrutable. They still are now, quite frankly. The first edition rules are, can be challenging.
Yeah.
And so we kicked it around, and but didn't really play. We wrote a lot of characters, and we kind of played, but and then the basic box came out, and we played that a little bit. That made a little more sense. But it wasn't really until college.
The blue box with the dragon on the cover.
Exactly. The Arrow Lotus cover art was that one, and that was great. That was a little simplified, and so a couple kids over lunch hour could play that in the lunchroom. That's what we did. So I've been playing on and off then since the mid '80s, really.
And that was in Wisconsin?
Yeah. So that's why, this is in a smaller town in Wisconsin. Because D&D was born here in Wisconsin, that would be available on an end cap of a small convenience, just a convenience store.
Oh,
that was at a convenience store?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It was really random.
I remember talking to someone else who found D&D at a convenience store.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, they were also in Wisconsin.
So yeah, they must have been.
It was
someone from Wisconsin.
it was a drunken conversation with Alex Kammer, probably.
Oh yeah. This guy was a lawyer and started a convention.
What was the name of the convention? It was called the Gamehole Con.
I don't know. I met him in Origins. I was super wasted.
That's awesome. I know. I was gonna make, because you're like, just like every other kid. It was at an end cap at a thing. I'm like, I don't think that was true for every other kid. I think it was like the cartoon or anything else would be more of an in. Yeah, I don't think not too many people have that memory.
I suppose not the vehicle to get the book, but as far as if you were a under 20-year-old and you're reading the Dungeon Master's Guide, the first edition Dungeon Master's Guide, and you understood that, well, and you have more candle power than I do, because it's tough. It's tough, So that's what I was referring to. It's that then through the years, changed with the editions, and here we are in 5th edition land, which is my favorite. I love it so much. I just am so thankful for what you guys have done.
Oh, nice. I can take full credit for that.
Yeah, what you mean Greg Tito has done.
Yeah.
Sure. Brilliant job, Greg. Wonderful job.
No problem. I'm here for you guys.
So good.
But you are also a collector of old TSR modules and such. Is it true that you have every single product that TSR put out?
It's true.
Every one of them?
Wow.
Well, up to a certain point. Well, no, TSR definitely. I'm through. I don't. When TSR transitioned to Wizards of the Coast, I'm not complete in that era. But when you come, you'll see the Gamehole is actually a physical place, and it's located above a pub I own. And in this, there are three rooms in the Gamehole itself. There's the main game room, and then 2 other appended rooms. It's sort of a museum that's spread through these 3 rooms, and I have not only a complete set, but I have a complete set of original shrink wrap materials that I have taken me. God, it's taken me 20 years to get this stuff. So I have any product that came out in original shrink wrap still in that original shrink wrap, which for me means never been seen by anyone's eyes. And so I have a complete, perfect set of everything that TSR ever produced. And I was thinking crazy. Someday, I hope it could go to a museum. I hope that we can get,
Gamehole Museum.
Well, or someone can, or if someone can do a real tabletop museum, a legit one, I would happily endow that someday, because it's never going to be opened. It's just sort of, it just sits there. But I have multiple copies of everything, and the rares and all that kind of stuff. So there are probably 10 of us that are really lunatic collectors around the world, and I'm certainly one of those. Probably the top 5 when it comes to all the stuff I have.
Do the collectors kind of get together and have like swap meets?
Oh yeah. There's a nice auction at Gamehole Con actually as a result. So it's sort of some of the higher end rare stuff will come up there.
Oh wow.
And we trade. We all know each other, and we try to stay out of each other's way. Hey, Bill needs blank. Let's just let him get this one because he needs that to complete his set or whatever. Yeah, it's a nice.
That's
it's
actually
really
kind of
nice.
sweet.
You help each other out. It's like you see something that Bill needs, you'll let Bill know. You're not just gonna buy it and be like, oh yeah, I picked this up the other day. Oh hey Bill, I didn't know.
Let me just dangle it in front of you,
Bill.
Bill.
This is all you need to complete your collection.
I'm just gonna throw it on the fire.
I don't even need it.
I don't even need it.
I don't even want it.
I don't even like D&D.
I don't know what it is.
It's so terrible. That's really. I like that you guys are working together though, because
Yes.
that makes it feel like it's less about cutthroat competition and it's more about everybody just wants to celebrate and make sure that there's a living copy of these products out there, because I'm sure there's a time 100 years from now where something will befall some of the collections, and they won't be able to have those kind of archaeological.
I don't think
digs.
they were keeping the records and stuff that we keep now.
TSR was not. No,
Yeah.
Alex can probably speak to that more than we can.
Well, yeah. In fact, this pile of stuff, if you can see, you can see that. This is a pile of stuff from the TSR editing department from the mid '90s. These are all the internal memos and so on from your predecessor about products,
Internal memos.
rules,
Yes.
all that kind of stuff. It's really great. It's because it's from that era, the computer era, where there were floppy disks but no cloud. So when TSR went kaput, all that stuff got thrown away. So all we have are the few paper copies that are running around, and I got the set, and so I had them. Some friends came and scanned them. There are several real hardcore D&D historians, so of course shared that with them. Like John Peterson.
John Peterson.
Oh, yeah.
I was just gonna say, yeah.
The folks like that are Davey Walt and so on. They're writing books about this stuff, and I want to make sure that they have as much primary stuff as I stumble into. When I find it, I make sure I share it.
So where did you stumble into that? Like, where did you find this pile of memos?
Well, this is from Julia Martin, who used to be was a former employee. Julia, and so she reached out to me. She heard that I'm one of those lunatic Forgotten Realms people, and she had some stuff, and she was talking to me. She said, "Well, you sound like a real Realms fan. I'm just going to send you everything I have. I don't want the stuff anymore." I said, "Great." And then this big box showed up in my office a couple of days later, and it was full of all kinds of goodies, all kinds of original maps and stuff like that. That nerds like I would get crazy for. Yeah. Well, let's put it so. Ed Greenwood, when he drew the Forgotten Realms, he drew out the original one.
6.
He was a little older than that, but not much. He drew them out, and they're all on 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper, and they're all attached together. So you trotted down to the library where he works in Toronto and faxed them to Lake Geneva, and on the other end they came out, and Jeff Grubb received them, and according to and Ed sent some instructions, here's how to assemble this. So they assembled them, and they put this big collage of the Forgotten Realms map together. Well, Julia had that thing that came out of the fax machine.
Oh my God.
And I have it now.
Was it all like on one roll of paper?
No, they came as separate sheets. Huh. They printed out as individual sheets. Yeah, you did right. Some of those did have that really funny roll. Fortunately not. God, that would be a disaster.
Yeah, right. With a little
scroll. It would be like a map.
Yeah, and the stuff on the side, the things you pull off, the old dot matrix printers that would have that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I've got stuff like that, and when you come out, I'll show you some of these treasures.
That's really cool.
So I should start stealing stuff.
Can you just get your cord on your headset is on your microphone? If you want, just take the cord off and lay it.
You're totally right.
Lay it to the side, so when you're there, you go, perfect. We had some of those things here at the Wizard's office that I found once. There was like a binder of old memos that they, and my favorite ones were like, "Can we please turn the heat on in the bathrooms because the bathrooms are getting too cold?"
Where did that come from?
I don't know. It was like this binder of old memos that were sent amongst like the office politics of TSR back on like TSR like letterhead and stuff.
A cold bathroom in Wisconsin.
I know, right? Who would have thought that would have occurred?
No.
But it was just super interesting to go back into time and feel like, all right, well, this is what, obviously it wasn't a huge deal, but there was like things that they were talking about amongst the office while they were creating these great books.
I remember we had unearthed this huge binder of old headshots from the authors. Would you remember this?
No, I don't remember that. That's cool.
Like all of the old TSR authors was like
Bob and
Bob's was in there. Bob looked like he was 18.
He probably was.
He probably really was like 26 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, I wonder where that went.
Probably Alex probably has it.
It's probably in the Gamehole.
I do not. I would have said I have it. No, I don't have that one.
Do you
That's
want?
cool,
Do you want it? I mean, if I find it,
is it valuable to you?
I might know someone who's interested. Yeah.
I don't know. What I was gonna say is I might want to start just kind of going by Mike Merle's desk once in a while. Just
I've already. Don't worry, I've cased all the desks. They don't have anything good out there.
I'll enter some emails. I don't delete a thing. So.
Here's some pencil shavings from Mike.
This is when he was designing 5th edition.
It's the real pencil that wrote 5th edition.
If you put all these little pencil shards back together, you can see earlier versions. They're right here.
I think you got a killing. That's going to make a lot of money.
I think so.
Yeah.
We can get Greg Tito's dude wipes.
If you put together a letter of authenticity that you're willing to sign and put that up for auction, some knucklehead would pay money.
Someone
for that.
Probably would.
Without a doubt. I mean, yeah, and for sure.
I feel like we could do that with Chris Perkins.
Right.
Like we could just be like,
here, Chris, sneeze into this.
Yeah. Perkins tissue when he had a sinus infection in 2006.
While he was writing Curse of Strahd. It was inspiring for the shambling mounds and the oozes that were put into that. Yeah, right, exactly. You can make a story. I like that.
Yeah.
What about stuff like this, like from the Stream of Many Eyes? Actual artifacts from things. Is that something that 20 years from now people would want?
Absolutely. No
Future
question.
Alex?
I mean, just look at the fandom that's surrounding D&D now. I mean, that's all. As more and more people enter the hobby, there's much more interest, and then there are those who are collectors in any fandom set. So absolutely.
So why do I feel like to get to the game hole, we have to crawl through a hole? Like that's just a picture, like going up like a steep little ladder and then having to like burrow through a little warren to get in there.
It's not far from the truth. It's in a very old building. It's a Civil War era hotel where my pub's located. This one is, and you have to go up some steep stairs to get there. And because it's a historic building, we can't modify the stairs. So that's why this big suite of rooms and this otherwise great space, it became mine to do with what I wanted because we couldn't use it for anything else. So yeah, it's kind of like that. You go up some steep stairs, turn left through a door, bam, game hole.
That's pretty cool. And everyone was shorter around then, so.
Right. Yeah.
They're all basically halflings.
So did I make this up, or is there a really cool event happening at Gamehole Con where you can sign up to play a game in the game hole with you and Merles?
That's 100% true. You guys are so awesome with the stuff you do for Extra Life, and thereby allowing us to do so much stuff with Extra Life. I mean, I got a call from the Wisconsin chapter, the head of it, and said, you guys, Gamehole Con, were the biggest single contributor to Extra Life last year for the Wisconsin Children's Hospital. And I couldn't even believe that. Awesome. I said, well, that's freaking amazing. And that, so much thanks to you guys for all the stuff that you did with us last year. And so we're going to try to outdo it this year. And one of those, it's going to be fun. Mike has actually played a game with us in the game hole previously, so has Perkins. But this year Mike is going to run a game on Thursday night, and people who buy a ticket to this game, I'll transport them all over to the game hole, food and beverage them, and we will have a game up there that Mike runs.
I think I'm going to sign up.
You can sign up.
I want to sign up.
Yeah.
It sounds really fun.
It's going to be really awesome. But Shelley, you're going to see the game hole on Wednesday night. That's the special guest reception, and you're going to
as a special guest of game hole.
Yes.
I'm going.
You are a guest.
I know, it's totally triggered imposter syndrome that I didn't even know I had. I mean, I knew I was neurotic, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
How neurotic?
That's most of the community, though.
Really?
It doesn't believe that that there's all this amazingness that's happening around D&D right now.
It's crazy.
It's true. So when for people who are unfamiliar, when is Gamehole Con?
Yeah, it's this year. It's November 8th through 11 in Madison, Wisconsin, and we're always in early November. We picked that not because it's it's actually a pretty nice time of year here, but to stay out of everyone else's way of all the other shows that are happening in the summer. Man, there are so many cons these days that literally you can go to one every weekend if you're so inclined. So we had to go to early November, and it's worked out really well. It's kind of closes the season for industry folks. You start off wherever, and you end up at GHC at the end of the year, and it's pretty nice.
I like that. It's the best 3 days in gaming.
Well, now it's 4.
I gotta change your tagline.
So now I'm gonna get sued. Yeah. So,
right.
Well, if you know any lawyers,
in the Upper Midwest. There we go. Best 4 days in the Upper Midwest.
Well, I've always heard great things about Gamehole Con, and I've heard it's like the best run show, and everyone feels really special being there. The consumers as well as the people who attend as your guests. And then you told me when we were at Origins that it's all volunteers. It's you and your gaming group that are actually doing this. Y'all have day jobs, and you're just putting this together in your free time.
Pretty much. We just built the show that we wanted to go to. I mean, as simple as that. I mean, it's just we wanted to come and have it be high energy and joyful. That's what a gaming convention should be, and that when you show up, they actually have your packet with your name on it, properly spelled, and they have your tickets, and the games start when they're supposed to start, and you have a good map to see where you're going, and it seemed pretty basic. And in the game hole itself, we have myself and other professionals who we've played together forever, and you'll kind of look around the table, thought, man, we got a pretty good group of people here, accountants and so on, to do this, and it's worked out really well. And we also can't thank enough all the volunteers that come and help us. I mean, the first 2 we ran by ourselves and thought, holy cow, this is not sustainable. This is not going to work. And so we started getting volunteers, and man, it's great. It's so much easier to have help, obviously. keep growing 40% every year. So this year, we had 400 some year one, and this year will be over 4,000. It's just
it's over 4,000.
Yeah. It's pretty wild.
Crazy. That is crazy.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah,
but
that is a crazy amount of growth.
So who are some of the? I mean, other than myself, who are some other very exciting guests coming?
Very cool and stylish. Exciting guests.
Yes. Well,
before we came on, Nathan was haranguing me about essentially clearing out your offices that week because all the D&D folks come. So we have basically a whole D&D design team that comes. We also have, so that's Merle's, Perkins, Crawford, Lindsay, the whole gang. We bring them all. And Kate's coming too, which is awesome. Let's see, all the AL admins are coming, which are such a great group of people, and they do so much for the hobby. They're out there soldiering, through conventions all the time, and so we bring them out and try to treat them as well as we can just to thank them for all what they do for the hobby.
That's amazing.
And but then some dude named Steve Jackson's coming.
Don't know him.
Yeah, why would you? Let's see who else. Monty Cook is kicking around, I think. Shanna's coming. Who else? We have, let's see, there are Scott Gray, who is my editor, actually, and he does some work for you guys.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, I've never actually met him. He's edited a few of my modules that I've written, and he's such a good guy that so I wanted to bring him out. So I'm excited to meet him. That's one of my personal favorites. I can't wait to hang out with him a little bit.
That's what gaming conventions I think are cool for, is like actually you usually
face to face.
Yeah, right. You have these online connections with so many people, but when you get face to face, it's like a completely different thing, right? Yeah, like that's what Origins was for us and you. It was like, oh yeah, that's Alex.
Yeah, but we, folks like Pat Rothfuss, and we're very fortunate to have.
He's going to.
Yeah, Mr. Pat. Wow. He'll be there. He'll probably play. So we have a full suite of streaming games Friday and Saturday. And Pat will definitely play in Chris Perkins' Saturday night game. He always wants to be part of that. And John Kovalik is here. He's a neighbor of mine, essentially. He's just up the road from where I live, and he's a hell of a good guy. Yeah, he does you've probably seen the plushies that we do every year. Mm-hmm. We do a plushie for charity. So we did an owl bear the year one, and a boulet year two, and a mimic last year, and this year we're doing the Odiug, and it's really cute and cool and fun.
Cute.
And those, I just got those actually. They just hit shores recently, so I'm really excited about that. So John, anyway, the Munchkin Munchkin artist, designs them each year, so it's pretty great.
Oh, that's so cool.
That is great. Yeah. Look at you getting your swag in ahead of time.
I know. I was just
amazing.
Thinking,
I was like, what?
Got his stuff.
You already got it already? That's like 6 months early.
You are not sweating it 2 days before the show opens.
It's not a real convention.
No.
That is the way, is to advanced preparation is the only way I can still practice law and run a convention and be involved and be a reasonable parent and all that stuff.
And train and be a competitive, what did you call it? Competitive.
Oh yeah, trainer. I do tough mutters. I compete and I try to win.
Oh, no way, really?
Yep. I got one. My event is mid-September this year, so I'll be up in Toronto trying to beat other old geezers my age. I'm just trying to win my age class. I can't beat 20-year-olds, but I can beat the 40-year-olds. I can. I'm pretty competitive.
Nice. Do you have to wear chainmail and a quarterstaff to make it real?
Oh my God, that would be so
awesome.
hard.
If there was like a fantasy themed one.
A fantasy themed mutter seems pretty legit.
Yeah. Should be some jousting. Yeah, that'd be good.
Some jousting. That's not dangerous at all.
No, because when you're running through mud. Yeah.
You want a 2,000-pound animal to be barreling down on you.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
Yeah.
But, with the other thing that is really great that you guys have been a really big help with is our kids track. All the other folks in the Gamehole have kids of varying ages, and I've got a 6 and a 10-year-old, and just seeing my little girl is excited beyond belief because she's going to run a game of Dungeon. The board game.
I think you tweeted about that or something. That is amazing.
She can't wait. She's literally counting down the days like it's Christmas. It's so cute. And then last year I got to see her play a game of Dungeons and Dragons at a convention setting. She's around the table. It made me weep, quite frankly. I couldn't believe it. So anyway, that's a big deal for us. And
is she your older child or the younger? Okay.
Yeah, older. My little guy's now, he's going to be 7 this year, so he's all fired up because he can play by himself. He can read reasonably well now, so he's really excited he can play now. But anyway, we have a full, developed kids track with lots of kids who come and play, and lots of great games. And you guys have given us tremendous stuff to prize them with, as have other publishers. So these kids get this massive bag. Like last year, they each got a D&D starter set,
nice.
In addition to all this other stuff. Yeah, it's just so cool. And so that was pretty awesome. And that's
training up new dungeon masters. That's what we do with those starter sets.
I feel like I might like that thing that we haven't talked about that I'm going to be doing at Gamehole Con.
What?
I feel like
Is
that would be
thing?
good for it is good for kids, actually. Like, we should give them some of those. Yeah. Can I be more cryptic?
I know, right? You're like, let that thing that we haven't talked about.
That we haven't announced yet, that Nathan's dying to spoil.
Well, don't be all crazy and cause all this mayhem about it, all right? Just make it very normal.
Walk it back, Shelley. Walk it back.
I can't. You know what I was thinking about? This will surprise you.
What?
Kids, because like Quinn's about to have his 5th birthday party. He's having a slumber party. I'm like, oh, just in a couple years, like it could be a D&D party. I feel like that's my audience. I could DM for kids.
Oh.
Not adults. Like kids, first of all, I don't need to know really any rules because they're not going to follow them anyway.
Truth.
And they don't know what's happening. And it's just like, they just want to talk and tell stories. And my job would really be quite minimal in the whole thing. I would just like make things up and help them.
Yeah.
So I feel like I can DM for kids. I think that's what I want to do.
I've run a lot of games for kids, and it's very different skill set. I do the con circuit, and I fortunately get asked to be guests at shows, so I run a lot of games for grown-ups, of course. But then running for kids, it requires a level of spontaneity, and because you get the stuff out of leftist of left field, right, that they want to do, and it's great. And you just got to be able to roll with it, and just having a really defined story is meaningless. You don't really need that.
That's
you
what
just
I
have
mean.
to have.
I don't think I'd have to prep at all. I would just, a little, but they would just kind of take it to. Yeah. Where it's going to go.
And use their input to guide the story more than anything else.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. You want to go to Fart Town? We're going to Fart Town.
That's what it could be. Expedition to Fart Town.
Oh my gosh. Then you could be like Guy Fieri, where instead of Flavor Town, it's like we're going to Fart Town.
Yeah. So I can just be really screamy when I talk.
And have like frosted tips and your sunglasses on the back of your head.
And just look like I probably have BO.
Well, man, apologies to Guy Fieri who listens to this podcast.
When you get a parental call about the game night at the Masnoble household, that'd be fun.
It's gonna happen.
Would you do the Fart Town I'm hearing about?
Did you go to Fart Town?
We are gonna get calls after the slumber party. I'm pretty sure. I already know it.
That sounds like fun though. You should totally organize that. I'll send Fiona and Edna to play with you.
Well, I'd probably lean a little heavily on Edna because I would probably get panicky and then be like, Edna, just take it over.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she's my 7-year-old, and she's like your 6 going on 7-year-old who's like just up to reading, getting into it now. And now I want to go full force. But I have my 5-year-old who wants to do everything that the 7-year-old does. So she's not quite at that reading level. I think once they both get to, 9 and 7, it'll be great.
Do they have to know, like in the game I'm envisioning, I'm not seeing much reading at all. Like really simple character sheets and just rolling dice.
Yeah.
But just a D20.
Alex knows.
Right? They don't need to.
That'd be great. Okay. No, that'd be great.
We're just going to talk. We're just going to talk.
I understand the problem that you have, Greg, too. My little guy is so now bent out of shape because Vivian is running a game that he says, well, why don't I get to run a game? And so the compromise is that he and Vivian are going to joint run a game of Hirelings: The Ascent, which is a really cute game. You're basically hired to be you carry the hero's treasure out of this board game, and there's the dragon breathes a ball of fire, and you have to get out before the fire catches you. And it's not nearly as terrifying. Cute. It's really cute. You don't fight monsters; you roll to avoid them, and all these silly things happen. And so he's been mollified now. I have peace in the valley, at least on that front.
Nice, because he'll be like,
nice of Vivian.
We can do it together. That is very nice. That's a good big sister.
Yeah. She's got her dungeon game.
Yeah. But now I want to play in the dungeon that she'll be running. That sounds pretty fun.
I know. Is it just for kids?
It is, but
but I'm a kid at heart.
She will destroy you. That's what my point is. She will absolutely destroy you. So Jeff McGarry, the guy who created Dungeon, has come to our show a couple times, and he'll be there again this year.
Nice.
Jeff's a really nice guy, and so a couple years ago, I actually filmed Vivian playing him heads up in Dungeon, and she absolutely destroyed him because she has the wizard character down for about 6 moves to end the game.
Oh.
Just with reasonable dice rolls. If she's more than 50%, she's going to win. And yeah.
I did not do any of those things.
We just played Dungeon recently.
Right? He saw it. I had no treasure. I got one piece of treasure and then immediately lost it on the next turn.
I'm not going to lie. You were a little pouty pants.
I was rolling really poorly. It happens.
And then afterwards, you guys tried to take my win away from me.
No, we didn't. What are you talking about?
You said I wasn't being a good sport about winning.
Did I say that?
Yeah, you guys all were remember we had a vote, well, who thinks she should not win because she's not being a good sport about it? And everyone raised their hands.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because you were probably still crying about losing treasure. Pelham, do you remember that?
Do you remember hating on Shelley?
Sitting right next to me when that happened.
Pelham was definitely eyeing your pile of treasure.
Did your hand go up when he voted? I'd lost.
You got off the island.
My win has a little asterisk.
This is where your love of reality television is used against you. You were voted off the island.
I was voted off the dungeon.
Yeah, you can't do it anymore.
I know I won in my heart.
You did good. You had a lot of treasure, very early on.
I did.
Yeah.
It's because I've stayed in levels 1 and 2.
And exactly.
I know my place.
And collected it all.
I did.
I know.
Cleaned out the room.
You got a magic sword on the first roll too, which certainly helped.
That didn't hurt.
That changed things, right?
Yeah.
Because that's a +1 throughout the whole thing. And then you had another one right after that.
But Vivian might be able to give you some tips. Sounds like.
I think so. Yeah, I need to know what that secret way is with the wizard to go down. Because that's what I try to do. I try to go south into the most hardest part of the dungeon first. And then my first monster was a red dragon and then immediately died. It was great.
You have to step to level 4 as soon as you can. Fight that one monster, get to level 5 into the hallway, use your teleport card, take to level 6. So then you've basically, that's 3 moves, you're in level 6 then. So you get there before anyone else, and then that's where the wizard class is built to win there. But yeah, you still have to be able to beat the red dragon. You still have to roll. It's usually a 7 or higher,
Yeah, your rolls weren't. It wasn't you, it was the dice.
Nah, it was bad. It was bad all around. Because I tried to go through this. I was trapped at the secret door 2 or 3 times.
Oh, yeah. He couldn't find it to save us. He was like,
I know it's there.
There's a door here.
I'm a wizard. I should know. That was my role playing.
That was really good.
Yeah. I felt like I was in a box.
I'm in a mime.
I've been trapped in a mime.
Help. Does it look real? Alex, does it look real? Does it look like I'm
real. So real.
Coming
Except
through your computer screen?
Yeah, you just look like you're in a gelatinous ball of some sort, but that's cool. Maybe,
It's more D&D anyway.
That's true. You're the sorceress trapped in the wizard ball. I love it.
Yeah. It's the next title of my next book.
It's true. So you mentioned, I want to go back to a couple of minutes ago. You were talking about modules that you were writing.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, you guys wrote such a wonderful rule set with 5th edition that it got me.
Yeah, me and Shelley.
Yeah, I know you guys.
Shelley.
I'm giving credit. All credits due.
Our pen names are Jeremy Crawford and Mike Morales.
I'm
Exactly.
I want to be Jeremy.
His shirts are more pressed. That's why I can see why that is.
True.
Yeah.
So I've been playing this stuff for a long time. I've written stuff, but it's always been for just just for my group. So then when Chris was teasing the existence of the OGL at the first Gamehole Con, he's like, "We're talking about it." And a couple years later, finally the OGL hit, and as soon as that did, and you guys created the DMs Guild, I was in and started writing things. So we have a little imprint called Gamehole Publishing.
Wow.
And we produce modules. We've produced Ed Greenwood's written 3 for us. I'm on my 3rd, and so I think we're approaching 10 different modules, and they're available in game stores. They're in distribution.
What? Wait, what? This is another thing you do?
Yeah.
I didn't know that there was. I didn't even know this part.
I didn't either. He just mentioned it like a throwaway comment.
I know, it's my little publishing imprint.
Oh man, I feel like it.
You've got so much going on. It's so cool. That's all.
I appreciate that. Actually, just today I finished. I had a kind of a slow afternoon, so I was able to finish my Adventure League module for Gamehole Con, which we get to play in the Border Kingdoms. You guys gave us exclusive right to for a specific part of the Forgotten Realms called the Border Kingdoms, and we produced a big gazetteer that's out now, available on the DM's Guild, and we have 11 total modules that'll be coming out for AL players at Gamehole Con. And I just finished mine. I just did the edits today. My wife actually does my proofreading, and it was really awesome reading her question marks about stuff like she doesn't understand. She doesn't play D&D. Like I'd make reference to something and she'd underline and question mark it, like what's a glyph of warding, whatever. But
that would be hard to edit, or even proofread some if you don't know D&D. Like all the weird spellings.
But at the same time, I feel like that might be an asset, because that means you're not
really spell checks.
Because they say, like, proofreaders. One trick that they use, I don't know if your wife uses this or not, but like you actually read a sentence backwards, so that you're not just reading it and understanding it immediately without seeing the errors.
Words misspelled.
Yeah, you can actually take a little bit more care with each thing to kind of get it. So I feel like she was good for that.
Absolutely, and she's awesome at her ability to. She's one of these nerds who will read a book, a published book, and but will highlight errors that she finds in published books and things like, aha, got him.
Does she send a note back to the publisher?
No,
directly to the author, which is weird.
She also
she's Canadian.
The author.
Yeah. I found I was reading Troy Denning's first book in the Pentad, Prism Pentad from Dark Sun. I was reading that, and I was like, oh yeah, we published this. I had it on my shelf for like years, but I'm like, oh yeah, now it's part of Wizards of the Coast, so I'll read it. And I was noticing all those errors, and they are there too. And I was like, oh man, I should tell Troy about this. I'm like, wait, no, why would I do that? I'm going to tell Shelley, because you were probably the one that were.
I was. I probably worked on novels at that time.
You probably did.
Then you should tell. I don't know whose editor.
They weren't bad copy mistakes, because they were like, I was like, I think it was supposed to be a he, but it was a B, like B-E instead of H-E.
No, it was supposed to be B.
That's how they do it in Athos. It's how they pronounce that. It's totally different.
Yeah, it's pronounced he.
I believed you for
but it's spelled
for
like
a 0.5 seconds. I was like, oh, is that true?
I did actually sound really convincing,
you did.
Didn't I?
Yeah.
No.
That was like your categories voice of like, no, that's the definition.
That's right. My balderdash.
Your balderdash. That's
yep.
it.
Anyway, you were saying.
Well, no. So yeah, that's so I get to write some stuff, and that's really cool, and I appreciate you guys letting me into underneath the tent a little bit to we can produce our own modules and then write all the stuff for Adventure League, which is awesome. We have a huge AL hall at as you'll see, Shelley, when you come. It's either the biggest or it's bigger than Origins, put it that way, the Adventure League Hall. And
what?
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't you say
really
there's going to be like 55 tables or something like that? Or that was
There'll be mid-70s.
Wow. Oh my God.
That's a lot of tables.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really big. It's really big. And it's so we get to write all this content, and you guys, give us all these premieres and the epics and the open. I mean, it's a gong show. It's great. It's so fun.
When you say we, who's writing all of this?
Some of the usual suspects, like Sean Merwin is one of our authors. He's writing something. Several of the admins are writing things for us. Then some of the other guys in the Gamehole are, So it's all spread out. It's not. I'm only writing one. I committed to one 4-hour one, which I've gotten done. Now I'm moving on.
He's so far ahead of his deadlines. Right?
Oh, you got to, man.
That's really weird.
We got a lot to learn.
So a lot of lawyers seem to have this crazy creative streak as well. A lot of lawyers are authors. Did you ever notice that? Like my friend Kim.
John Grisham?
And John Grisham.
That's it.
Two of us.
Terry Brooks.
Terry Brooks.
Terry Brooks.
Brooks.
I didn't even know he was a lawyer.
That's true. Yeah. All right.
It seems like there's a lot. What's going on there? Why?
I don't know, man.
That's you write a lot.
Exactly. I basically am a professional writer at the end of the day, but just very different kind of stuff, and would be horribly boring to read. But I've been published a lot in a lot of different ways through law. But so then once you have, writing is just a matter of practice, just like anything else. And I was pleased that the stuff I'm writing for D&D has transitioned pretty well and doesn't read like a legal brief. I think that it's also fun. The stuff that we write on the day-to-day level is pretty dry and pretty, very, very purposeful writing for a given outcome. You're not trying to write something that someone will read and say, well, that's really well written. that's not the purpose. You're writing to win in the law. Here you get to write for fun and enjoyment and pleasure. It's a whole different thing. And so that's why a lot of the successful novelists, I think that's why they can make the transition so well, because it's so, and they're also so prolific. Look at these guys. They just, pound out books when you're used to writing.
Yeah.
Every day as part of your job. It's not, deadlines are not that big of a deal, which I think some folks struggle with, who come from a different industry, to try to write and meet deadlines is hard.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Yeah, that's my 2 cents, probably completely wrong, but there you go.
Do you DM for your group? Are you the DM?
Mm-hmm. I am running Tomb of Annihilation right now. Yes.
Annihilation.
Yes. And I love it. We rotate in our game group, but I'm up now and I'm running Tomb of Annihilation and I'm just having a blast. I think it's delightful. And I was telling Chris at Origins, some of the mechanics in the module are great. And I was actually able to be part of Steve Winter's playtest group when he was just putting his pieces together.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so that was fun. So I got to play most of it before I started running it, which was great. And so we're almost done with it. And so now we're eagerly anticipating your stuff coming out. That's in August. That'll be great.
Waterdeep, that's right. Are you going to play as a barrister in the town of Waterdeep?
Yeah, I don't know. I probably could actually. That's not a bad idea.
I love taking character concepts and making them real life professions somehow, like a bard who's a theater manager, or a lawyer who's actually a warrior at heart.
Sure. Yeah, or the thief import exporter is one of my favorite.
Yeah, Silk
types of characters. That's
yeah.
Like from thief. Come on.
From the Belgariad, I always loved that character. He's like, I'm just a merchant. I don't do anything wrong. I'm just moving stuff from here to there. I just happen to be traveling with people who move from here to there also.
Exactly.
I love that character. Very cool. Well, if people want to get more information on Gamehole Con and perhaps purchase some tickets, how could they go do that?
Yeah, it's our site, gameholecon.com. Again, with a unique name, you can just kind of misspell it and you'll get there. The Google will get you there.
Turn safe search on, though, before you do that.
That's probably fair. We have actually, now's a good time. Badges are on sale, but events have not opened yet. So that happens in mid-August or so. That's when people register for events. So in the next 30 days is a great time to buy a badge. And then we have a games list that's up. We have over 2,000 individual gaming events and building every day. We keep getting more stuff in.
Oh my God.
That's a lot.
It's crazy. Well, we have, True Dungeon is there too.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing.
We have a full suite of True Dungeon. Yeah, I'm one of the owners of True Dungeon. We talked about that. We talked about that at Origins.
Yeah, at Origins.
Not
on this.
No. We have we'll have 3 full True Dungeon dungeons to do, and that's a big part of our show. Grab a badge and enjoy the games list. It's pretty awesome. I wish it's a show I wish I could go to attend.
You wish that you could just have fun there instead of running around.
Being able to go and sit and play Car Wars with Steve Jackson. I mean, that's just still, I'm having a hard time getting my brain around that as a thing that's possible. Or playing D&D with any of your folks. It's just what a treat, So
they're all right.
Yeah.
I mean, Shelley's cool.
Oh, I'm not there doing that. No, never.
I'm totally going to sit in one of your games, Shelley, by the way. There's just a 0% chance that won't happen.
Yeah.
One of the super secret games.
Super secret.
Oh,
absolutely.
I have 100% confidence in my ability to play that game with you.
That's going to be great.
And late-breaking addition to Gamehole Con.
Oh, right.
Rob Daviau's going. Did you know it's the same weekend that Betrayal Legacy releases? He will be there to play with you.
Legacy of news happening.
Yes.
At that.
Yes.
That's crazy.
He will be there on some panels, but also to play Betrayal Legacy. Oh,
with people.
I have a question about this card. Oh, I don't know. Let's ask the guy who designed it.
Are there going to be people who are going to be playing from beginning to end at Gamehole Con? That'd be really fun because they could get a copy right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so. There should be people selling the products there.
I'm going to do that with Rob. It's like, sorry, Rob, you're
I know we're
locked into playing with me all weekend long.
I signed up for this, man. I signed up.
You got to do it.
You got to do it. I got my ticket right here.
Well,
that'd be fun.
Lest give the wrong impression, we have a heavy D&D and RPG show, but we have a strong board game presence too. It's about 30% or maybe 35%. Like we have guests like Eric Lang, so we have other board game guests too that come and they do their thing. And we have a lot of miniatures as well, but that's D&D is our single biggest event, and we're probably 55% RPG. So there you go.
That's great.
So you're not going to be,
yeah, you won't be by yourself, Shelley. There'll be a lot of board game folks.
I kind of wanted to be by myself.
That's why you were going.
No, I'm excited. I've heard wonderful things. So
it's gonna be great. Awesome. Well, cool. Thanks so much for being on, Alex, and talking about it. How can people find out about you, though, and all the collecting, and say if they have a super rare thing and they want to find out more about it, maybe they can ask you some questions.
Well, first of all, anyone who contacts Gamehole Con at the contact it's this guy who answers it.
Hey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's how big of an organization we are. Also on Twitter, I think my handle is GHC and Tacos.
Yes,
Alex
it is.
Kammer. Yeah, you'll find me there. I'm actually doing this thing where I'm going through the history of TSR, and each day I'm posting a new thing in that year. And so we're just getting started with 1987. Just a couple days ago, that's when I posted the Forgotten Realms setting when it was released in 1987, and nice. So I'm working through that. So you can, if you follow me, you'll see a new thing every day as I put something from my collection. It's actually a photograph of a thing I have sequentially through time.
I love that.
And it's been pretty fun, and people seem to really dig it. I started on kind of a lark, and it's been really popular. It's pretty fun.
Is there a hashtag for that?
No, I don't. No, I wish I did.
Kids
Shucks, no
days.
hashtag.
Kids these days.
But it's your Instagram account that does that, right?
Whoops.
No, just Twitter.
Oh, it was Twitter.
Yeah.
I thought someone else is doing. Oh, it's Vintage RPGs is doing something similar, but doing all kinds of stuff, not just TSR stuff. That's right.
Yeah, that fellow's bopping around. He's going all over the place. Yeah, he's got great stuff too. That's
I know. I love seeing it all because it's transporting into another era. It's great.
But just think, Tito, something of yours that you an email that you wrote 20 years from now could be highly sought after.
I'm going to print out all of my emails. Oh crap, my emails are terrible. Don't print those out. Are they going to be as remembered as the bathroom? It's getting too cold.
It's too cold in the bathroom
from the TSR days.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
I gotta start saving all your emails.
I think a lot of our back and forths people are going to really want those.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I could publish a book.
We have a few really good email threads that have made me laugh like out loud.
No way.
Yeah.
Impossible.
Right. You were like, what?
Send them to me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Alex, for calling in. I can't wait for more people to check out Gamehole Con.
Yep.
And you are a wealth of knowledge of all things TSR, so I'm sure I'll get you on the horn when I need something. Like, I need this module, stat.
Absolutely. No, great seeing you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, you too. Thank you.
Thanks, Alex. See you later.
Yeah, see ya.
Bye. All right. I think you're done, Shelley. No, wait, you're not done because we got to do our intros and outros for the other things.
Uh-oh. I'm not done.
Do you think we can do that really fast? Do you have like a 4 p.m. meeting or something?
I don't know.
You probably do.
Doesn't matter.
We got to do it. Hi, people in the Twitterverse. Twitchverse.
Hi, Twitter.
So we are going to do an intro for Dr. Megan Connell.
What?
Yes. Do you remember when we talked to her about D&D therapy?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we got to do it now. You want to try and do it real quick?
Yes.
Let's knock him out.
Is this live?
Yeah, we're going to do this live because then we got to go to Chris Perkins. Unless you want to do it after. You want to do it at 4:30? Mm-hmm. You'd rather do it at 4:30? Mm-hmm. All right, let's do that.
Is that okay?
Yeah, no, let's do it.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Never mind then. I saw Ryan's shoulders be like, why do they always try to make me do it fast like this?
It's probably better because you need more time for lawyers.
It'll be totally. He's just turning down my sound. Thank you. I got to talk louder so it gets in the Shelley's microphone.
I hear you.
We are going to take a quick bake.
Whoa!
We're going to get baked right now, and then we're going to go talk to Chris Perkins about all of the lore you should know that's going to be coming on down the pike. /pipe.
The pipe.
Shelley knows what I'm talking about. Thank you guys for watching. Those interviews are done. We'll be back with that. And then we're going to do some intros and outros, but you guys won't be able to see that because that's secret.
They're boring.
Stuff. It's secret.
It'll surprise and delight you.
It'll be really fun. It'll be great. All right, cool. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.